Good afternoon, Tom. We've got a question from Mr. Rissman in Germany, and he's taken a lot of time to think this out. So it's a little bit long, but I'm going to read it to you because of the effort that he put into it. I recently reflected about the topic of intellectual, logical thinking versus intuitive channeling. Tom once said, consciousness has two different ways of data processing, and I wondered why that would be the case in an information system. So I thought, maybe the processes fundamentally are not that different. They only seem to be that way to the user, and the big difference is just the resources deployed to it. Meaning, logical processing, if we use logic to solve a problem, we only use the limited local resources of our own restricted consciousness. So we have only so much processing power as our own free will awareness mind has to offer, and we only have the memory cache capabilities that our own free will awareness unit consciousness provides for us. Intuitive channeling. If we use the intuitive channel, we send a query out to the LCS, and now the problem is indeed also logically processed. But inside the LCS mainframe, with its much greater computational resources and vastly bigger memory size, including all existing databases and probability distributions, then the answer is sent back to us, and we, then of course, cannot have any idea how that answer was generated, because it is simply impossible for us to comprehend how the problem was solved. Because a limited IUOC free will awareness little virtual machine can never understand all the logical processes the whole LCS mainframe is capable of doing. Conclusion. In this conclusion, there would be no real fundamentally different ways of data processing because they're both logical processes. But in the first way, the problem is only solved logically with very limited resources. And in the second way, the problem is just outsourced to the cloud with all the computing resources existing there in the whole LCS consciousness realm. So the two channels would only seem to be different, but the perspective of the free will awareness unit, because they seem so instantaneous and incomprehensible, but they are not really different fundamentally in the way of their logical data processing manner. To add, furthermore, I thought once this could maybe explain why the human or mammal brain has evolved two different brain hemispheres, left brain, right brain, where the left brain is associated with logical processing, whereas right brain does mainly the intuitive work. If the mind leads and the body follows, then the two different hemispheres evolved to reflect those two ways of problem solving for the free will awareness unit. Whereas the hemispheres specified on two separate specific tasks. The left hemisphere specialized to be in computer language terms a CPU, a central processing unit, with doing mainly local calculations and workloads, whereas the right hemisphere evolved to be a DPU, data processing unit, or IPU, infrastructure processing unit, that mainly acts as a network interface for big decentralized workloads, sending, getting, and passing through the big amounts of data through the intuitive channel to and from the LCS. Would these thoughts be on track?
Well, that was a very long question, but it has a very short answer. The answer is yes. That question does have it figured out very well. The way I used the term
Wow.
processing, yeah, really was implying exactly what he was saying. He covered both sides of it. Consciousness is sending one data stream to us that defines the virtual reality, our data stream that defines this reality. Where are all the chairs and tables? What's the weather like today? Who's talking to you? All of that information is part of the rendering engine rendering this reality. And indeed, that we process that and deal with that mostly from the logical side. And then there's another data stream that is answering our queries to the database. And that's coming directly from the larger conscious system as well. But it now is not just telling us what's in front of us and how the characters are interacting. It's giving us information that we don't have access to. So yes, the way he said it was perfect. My explanation was only about 15 or 20 seconds long, which said, oh, we process information in two ways. So I slimmed that down to a very compact metaphor, but he picked it all apart into the details and he did a terrific job of it. So I'd say, yes, he's dissected that and looked at all the pieces of it just perfectly.
Thank you. That will mean a lot to the computer science people. Thanks for answering that, Tom. You have more power than you think. Hi, this is Donna from MBT Events. I have had the privilege to work with Tom Campbell for nearly 20 years now, and I can tell you from the feedback received through all those years that he has improved and changed thousands of lives with his My Big Toe theory. As a physicist and explorer of the larger reality, Tom has developed a program where you can learn to access and develop your natural ability as consciousness. His expertly crafted binaural beats are included. Details are in the description below. Thank you.
I and MBT Events hope you like this video. If you do, then you should consider being a Patreon member, because Patreon members get early access to our special content. You will also be able to get your questions answered by me in special Q&A sessions, and most importantly, your contribution as a patron member will enable us to produce the content that you're looking for. So thank you.